Today is December 29th, 2020. If we cloned Ben Stiller, would the thing that comes out of that machine, which would have an identical physical structure to the original Ben Stiller, would that thing be Ben Stiller? I think that question is actually too ambiguous. I think the phrase Ben Stiller has a tiny bit of ambiguity, as does the phrase Derek Jeter or the phrase Jim Carrey. The tiny bit of ambiguity is that the phrase Ben Stiller does not distinguish between the original Ben Stiller and the duplicated Ben Stiller. That ambiguity is never a problem when we use the phrase Ben Stiller in our everyday conversations. The only time that ambiguity would become a problem is when we're trying to answer a philosophical question like this. So, if we define the phrase Ben Stiller to specifically mean only the original man named Ben Stiller who starred in Duplex and Dodgeball, then according to that definition of Ben Stiller, cloned Ben Stillers would not be Ben Stiller. They'd be a different person. So, when we try to answer this question in a precise way, we need to precisely define the phrase Ben Stiller. If we define the phrase Ben Stiller narrowly to only include the original man named Ben Stiller, who experienced his whole childhood, then that's a narrower definition of Ben Stiller, which would only include the original Ben Stiller. But if we define the phrase Ben Stiller more broadly to include any physical human body that has that arrangement of atoms, then any clone of him would also be Ben Stiller. It's a matter of how narrowly or broadly we define the phrase Ben Stiller, and also the phrase same person. Without a more precise definition of the phrase same person, the very question we're asking is too ambiguous. So the question of a person's identity is not some profound metaphysical question. It's just a matter of ambiguous language. It's not about some profound metaphysical principle of, is it the same person or is it not? It's just about ambiguous language and us nailing down the definition of certain phrases more precisely. Now let me ask this question. Is Derek Jeter in 2020 the same person as the Derek Jeter in 2015? It's the same ambiguity problem. If the phrase same person is defined such that every new day that person wakes up as a new person because they've aged a day and that's all that's required for them to become a new person, then we're each a new person every morning when we wake up, and Derek Jeter is a different person in 2020 than he was in 2015. But if we define the phrase same person much more broadly, such that Derek Jeter has been one person from his birth all the way through to his death, then Derek Jeter has remained the same person for his whole life. So again, what it means to ask whether or not Derek Jeter is the same person today as he was in 2015 depends on how we choose to precisely define the phrase same person. It's a matter of ambiguous language.